Hey, what's up, tubers? This is the SHTF Hunter. Today's video is about shotguns and shit hit the fan. Talk about the advantages and disadvantages. I got in my channel, I have a lot of hunting experience and firearms experience. That's why my channel is a lot about firearms, because I got a lot. I actually can't, it's hard for me to teach everything I know on video, but I've actually got my first shotgun. It was my first gun ever when I was 10 years old. I hunted rabbits, squirrel with it. I even killed my first deer with it. It was a 20 gauge single shot, and there's a lot to learn about shotguns. If I was bugging out, it wouldn't be my choice for a firearm, but we won't get into some advantages and disadvantages. First off, I'd take some notes because I'm really bad to get off track. So first off, we'll talk about who should have a shotgun. And preppers and homesteaders, people who don't plan on leaving their home, a shotgun is very good for around the house. Like a lot of old farmers I know, you used to know, if they didn't have nothing else, they'd have a single shot shotgun. They're easy to use, they're good for, they're easy for women to use or people who don't shoot a lot. So they're good to shoot at night when you don't have to be super accurate. You may have a fox in the hen house. You've probably seen old cartoons where a farmer runs out of the house with a shotgun because there's something in his hen house or something, so yeah, they're good for people who plan on staying in place, or going out and doing a little bit of hunting or whatever, on small game, or you can hunt large game. Survivalists or people who plan on bugging out, the shotgun is not for you. Unless you live in a country or maybe even a state where the only thing you're allowed to own is a shotgun. If that's your only option, that's your only option. So one of the biggest reasons, right now we'll get into advantages. So first advantage, a shotgun doesn't require a whole lot of training to be accurate and good with a shotgun. It's especially a single shot shotgun. It's the most simple device ever. But I got a few examples I'll show them here a little after I get done talking. But another advantage of a shotgun, it's devastating at close range. Like on a 12 gauge, I actually give it a rating of about 100 yards as far as about how far you could actually use it. Which is still, it's still easier to use than a pistol. I'm not saying you can't hit nothing with a pistol at 100 yards, but it's a whole lot easier to hit it with a shotgun. Even double-aught buckshot at 100 yards is dangerous, All right, another advantage to shotguns over rifles and pistols is being able to hit a moving target. I don't know how many of you rabbit hunted or whatever, but with dogs, if you're rabbit hunting with dogs, most of the time the rabbits are running when you shoot them. And squirrels the same way. A lot of times they'll be running through trees and you can hit them on the move. I've shot deer when they're running. I've even shot turkeys when they're flying. So yeah, that's a definite advantage. Is they're easier to hit moving targets. Another advantage is they're versatile for hunting. You can hunt anything from small game to large game but just by having different loads on you. Another advantage, you can if you have 209 primers and black powder, you can actually reload a shotgun in the field with mostly common household tools or items. You know, as far you can actually use like cloth for wadding or cardboard to make wadding or shot over cards, and you use candle wax to seal it. And you could actually, I actually made a kit, and if you watch or follow Dave Canterbury, you've probably seen him reload a shotgun shell in the field. I made a video and made a kit where I reloaded shotgun shells in the field. So that's definitely an advantage. Some of the disadvantages, it is still considered a short range weapon. It's not going to have the range of a rifle. And it go. We'll get into choke tubes here a little bit, I guess. But I found that the most useful, if I had a shotgun with a fixed choke, it would probably be a modified. I've actually fired slugs out of a modified and had some accuracy. If you have choke tubes, I fired slugs through a full choke tube one time, and it swelled the choke tube up, and I couldn't hardly get it out. The modified, I was able to get it out, and the modified was fairly accurate with a slug in it. And the modified's going to hold a tighter group than just a cylinder bore or cylinder choke, or even there's even another one called improved cylinder. So okay, yeah, going to as far as the range, I've actually used extra full choke tube and 3-inch buckshot and killed a deer. I didn't have no range finder and still don't know the actual range, but I'm estimating it to be like 60 or 70 yards. And extra full turkey choke or choke tube, it's, you know, they actually make an extra full. I don't know that I would fire buckshot through that because you're getting pretty tight right there. But yeah, so I think I said it earlier before, you know, even if somebody was at 100 yards and you was firing a double-aught buck through an extra full choke tube, even at 100 yards, you may not kill that person, but you're going to hurt them. They're still going to get hit by pellets. So yeah. So as far as when we talk about ammo, I actually think you know, using a slug is kind of defeats the purpose of using a shotgun, in my opinion. If you're going to use a slug, you might as well be using an actual rifle that shoots 400 and 500 yards. So like if I was building a shotgun kit for shit hit the fan, I probably wouldn't include any slugs in it. That's another thing. Slugs, you could actually make a slug. You can make slugs out of birdshot by doing what they call a cut shell, where you cut around the wad just enough to hold it in place. And when you fire it, the whole the plastic and the lead goes out the front and doesn't open up. But that's what they call a cut shell, or you know, it's used as a slug. But so yeah, I wouldn't actually. There's a lot to learn about shotguns. I suggest you learn as much as you can, but learn as much as you can about shotguns. But you know, like I say, I only learned this stuff because the chance I might have to use a shotgun. I'm more of a rifleman myself. But okay, so we talked about that. Okay, the next disadvantage, ammo takes up a lot of space, and I got something laid out here I want to show you here in a minute. But yeah, so if I got a 30 round mag laid out, a 30 round P mag laid out, and beside of it is 9 12 gauge shells, and these 12 gauge shells take up the same, these 9 12 gauge shells take up the same space That's 130 round AR mag. So, you know, where you're carrying 9 of these, I can carry 30 rounds. So it's 9 versus 30. So, if you're carrying a basic combat load, which is like 6 mags plus 1 in the gun, or we'll just say like the 6 mags would be that's 180 rounds versus 54 12 gauge rounds. That you know, that's the space. It's not so much the weight as the space a 12 gauge takes up. Okay, now we'll talk about the gauges. The 3 most popular gauges that I'm familiar with, and you know, there's quite a few gauges, but the only 3 of them really stick out, and that's the 12 gauge, the 20 gauge, and the 410. If you watch my channel, and you know I do a lot of price analysis, trying to figure out, you know, what's the best price ammo, how you're getting more bang for your buck. So, looking at shotgun prices, shotgun shell prices, the one thing that is common is the fact that the ammo, whether it's 410, 20 gauge, or 12 gauge, are all about the same price. I mean, I don't know if y'all can believe that or not, but if you look at prices of ammo as much as I do, you will figure out it's all the same price. And the reason why I always lean toward 12 gauge is you're getting more bang for your buck. You're getting more lead, you get more powders. And there's just more, there's more offerings, like as far as different types of shot, different types of ammo that you can get for 12 gauge. I mean, you can get non-lethal if you think, you know, there's an instance you may not need. I mean, you got to think about the legality, so of what you do. So, so there's non-lethal rounds for 12 gauge. There's more buckshot loads for 12 gauge than there are 20. So that's why, you know, one of the reasons I always lean toward 12 gauge. Now 20 gauge and 410, I feel like 20 gauge and 410 are better for small game hunting. If I had to choose between the 2, I'd probably lean toward the 20 gauge, because I mean, you have to be really accurate with a 410 to kill. I mean, when it comes to small game, 20 gauge gives you a little more shot, but the reason I do prefer a 20 or a 410 for small game hunting is because you don't want to fill a animal full of lead. The closer you are, if you shoot something at really close range, it's going to fill an animal full of lead shot, and then it's not even going to be worth eating. You'll destroy all the meat. So that's why I'd rather use a 410 or 20 gauge for small game. When it comes to like buckshot for 20 gauge, you're really limited. And like a 410, I think most pellets, they can hold like 3 or 4 pellets of double aught buck or something. 20 gauge, I don't even think they offer. Nobody even offers double aught buck for it. I think it's like number 2 buck and number 3, which I ain't saying that. I mean, I'm sure they'll kill a deer just like anything else. But so we went over advantages and disadvantages. I think the next thing I want to go over like choke tubes and even chamber adapters. And I actually cut the video and show you this from a bird's eye view. All right, so so here's the 912 gauge shells laying beside one P mag that holds 30 rounds. So like if the only space you have is for 6 P mags, then you gotta figure for a shotgun shell, the only space you'll have in your bug out back is gonna be like 54 rounds. And you know, that's not a lot if you're talking about long-term bug out. But all right, well, these are some chamber chamber adapters I have. These two right here are gauge reducers. This one's for a 20 gauge, and this one's for a 410. Both of these, you can put, but if you're scrounging for ammo, my 410 or 12 gauge or 20 gauge, you can stick these in your 12 and shoot them. And I got some different brands here. I don't think you can get this no more, but I got a whole Chiappa set, and this particular one's for 40 Smith & Wesson. But the whole set comes with 9mm, 40, 45 Colt, 45 ACP. There's about 8 of them, but there's even 380 and 12 and 410, I think. So if you can find them, that's a Chiappa Excalibur. But I don't know if they're even making them. This one comes from Ace Sports, and it's a 30-30. Ace Sports up in Alaska. I actually had to send them the money before they make it, but you can get they'll make you a 16-inch version. This one's not very accurate. If I had to do over, I'd probably ordered a 16-inch. And this one's from Short Lane Adapters. You've probably seen Dave Canterbury talking about them. This is the Pathfinder from Short Lane Adapters, and this is a 22 long rifle. I think it's about about 8 or 9 inches. And here's another brand called the Shooter's Box. Shooter's Box, and this one is actually a 22 Magnum. So, that's a versatility, and these would work in a break action shotgun. So there's some versatility there. This is actually an extra full choke tube for a turkey choke. Your most popular, probably the most popular choke system is going to be the is it Brown and Invector or Mossberg 500. The same choke tube that works in the Mossberg 500 or the Brown and Invector work in a whole lot of different shotguns. So if you're looking for a choke tube system, I would get a shotgun that uses the Brown and Invector tube system. That's what this thing actually goes to. But I think you'd be, if you could only own 2 choke tubes, probably a modified and an extra full. I will move over here. This is a little 410 Super Comanche, made in Argentina. It also fires 45 Colt, but in the SHTF, I wouldn't worry too much about finding a 45 Colt because you can't hardly find it now. But this is actually a holster I made for it. And there's a newer pistol just like this called I think it's made by Rossi, called the Brawler, and actually has a Picatinny rail on top. This one has iron sights, but the Brawler looks pretty cool. I think this would be good for small game, like if he's carrying a AR-15. I think this would probably be a good option for shooting small game during the SHTF with the 410, obviously. All right, we'll move down here. Now, you've probably seen some of these futuristic looking magazine shotguns, and the biggest majority of all these shotguns are made in Turkey. They all use the same magazine, but this one's tricked out to be a home defense shotgun. Got a red dot, light mounted, pressure plate. It don't take much to turn that on. So that's my home defender, and it's shorter. It being a bullpup, it's ideal for home defense because it's a lot shorter than everything else. This is a Remington 1100. This is a gas gun. I've had it for both of these are gas operated. So I've had this since I was 19 years old, and so went over some changes over the years. It has like a 21-inch full choke barrel. I've used this to kill everything, and you can't get this no more. This is a Trigicon RX-30 reflex sight, and it doesn't use batteries, and it is awesome for hunting. when I was telling you about the gas operation, the another operation for a shotgun is called inertia operation, and the a lot of your Benellis are inertia operated. That means the recoil of shell ejects it, and we'll talk a little bit about ammo for semi-autos. If you buy cheap ammo, you're going to get cheap results out of a semi-automatic shotgun. So you're better off, if you want to use a semi-automatic shotgun, you gotta use the better ammo. So the more expensive ammo, or it's not going to function properly. Now we'll get down here to probably your best option during the shit hit the fan, and that's the pump shotgun. Advantage the pump has over a semi-auto, it's going to feed any and all ammo as long as the ammo is not deformed. You can, like, any cheap ammo or expensive ammo is going to work in this shotgun. As long as it's 2 3/4 or 3 inch, you know, their actual size. Them shorty shells actually you have to have an adapter for them little 1.5 inch shorty shells. But so this is the Mossberg 500. Cheaper version of this is the Maverick 88, and I actually think this will probably be your best option during the SHTF, especially if you don't, if you don't have a lot of knowledge as far as semi-autos, how to operate them. But yeah, slap a red dot on top of a pump, and you're good to go. And another thing about pumps, if you use them enough, a person with a pump shotgun can be as fast as a person with a semi-automatic shotgun. I know this for a fact because I used to shoot in competitions. This is like a kind of like a tactical or home or a defense competition. And there was one time I got beat by a guy using a pump shotgun, and I was using my old Remington 1100. But and over here we got a couple of single shot shotguns. This one's a 20, this one's a 12. These are New England's, and you can still buy these survivor stocks. So to break this apart, it's got a thumb screw right here. You screw it all the way out, the forearm comes off, and you just pop it out. You could pack this in a backpack. And yeah, I modified this and have a light on the end of it. But and 12 gauge, something else is kind of cool. You can actually fire Orion flares from it. So survival situation, you need to be found, you can fire a flare. Anyway, so there it is, the shotguns for SHTF. This is the SHTF Hunter. If you have any particular questions that you're not too sure about shotguns, leave them down in the comments down below, and I'll do my best to answer them. This is the SHTF Hunter, and I'm out.